Thank you for that commercial break. We are continuing with examples about finding the minimum and maximum value of a quadratic equation. So we are saying now we determine the minimum and maximum value of the following equations. We said when the equation is represented in form of this, what we think of is a quadratic equation. So we are going straight away on solution. Part A. They are saying that they have given us 2x squared minus 3x minus 7 must give us a 0. Now for this case, since the other equation was in form of y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, so what we do, we first let it to be any letter. Okay, now we say let maybe y equals 2x squared then minus 3x minus 7. So that's what we have. We first let it, then we write it in that form. So we say that after here, you have to make it, to make x have a degree of 1. Make it have a degree of 1 so that you can apply the completing squares. So our y will be now equal to, we factorize out the 2, we remain with x squared, so minus 3 out of 2x, then minus 7 out of 2. So that's what we shall have after factorizing out the 2. So after doing that, we said we have to get the value of b, we first divide it by 2, then we square it. So the value of b, we are saying the value of b which is given by, the value of b here, it is, and we say that when you are doing this, also consider the sign. Take the sign which is there, which is negative 3 out of 2 as our value of b, which is negative that. So we said we will have to divide it by 2. By 2. So even here that means you will divide it by 2. So for this case, we divide this one by 2. So our b out of 2 will then be negative 3 out of 4. We know by the rules of mathematics, this one will come down, which we multiply with the other 2 to get a 4. So we said after doing this, you have to square now. Square both sides. So for that case, our b out of 2 squared will be equal to, now when you square this one, when you square a negative value, any negative value, you get a positive. So here we shall remain with 3 out of 4, then the whole thing squared. Because we have seen that when you square negative, like negative 1 times negative 1, you get a positive 1. So that is what is going to happen there. So now we said after doing that, we go back to this step, we have to add here the value of b which we have divided by 2 and which we have squared, and also subtract 8 the other side. So for that case, we shall have that our y equals, the y value must be equal to 2, it must be equal to 2. It is 2 into, so we are here now introducing the other value which we said, so negative 3 out of 2x. So here we said we add it here, which is 3 out of 4, but squared. Also this side we subtract, so it will be negative 7 out of 2, then minus 3 out of 4, the whole thing squared. So this is what we shall have. So here we continue that our y now will become 2, open the bracket. So we see which number can you just square to get the whole of this result, which will be now, we said we pick this one here, which is x. So we see the side which is in the middle, which is now a minus. So we come this side, it becomes 3 out of 4. So then you square it. So minus 7 out of 2. So now we square this one which is inside the bracket. So it becomes minus 9 out of 16. So that's where we are. So for this case we say 2 into, here becomes x minus 3 out of 4, and the whole thing squared. Then here we get the LCM first. So here it will be minus, first factorize out to the negative, so that when I factorize them out to the negative, this one will remain as a positive inside. So it becomes into 7 out of 2 minus 9 out of, so it is plus. So when I open up the bracket, I'll get a negative that. So that's what we are getting. So now what we are going to do, get the LCM here. So here it will remain as 2, open the bracket, which is x minus 3 out of 4, the whole thing squared minus. Now, when we deal with this, the bracket, the LCM is 16. So you can divide by 2, get 8 times 7, you get times 7, that is 56. So here it becomes 56. So now, 56. So here we get, this will divide by this, you get that, then plus 9. So that's what we shall get. So here we continue with the value of y, which is 2 into x minus 3 out of 4. The whole thing squared. So minus so it is minus this one plus this, you get 60, it becomes 65 out of 60. So that's what we are getting after completing squares on the other equation. So we said when we reach on this step, we said that the value which is here, we said the value which is here is that maximum or minimum value. And also we said that that maximum value, we can go there for that maximum value or minimum occurs when this one, x minus 3 out of 4 equals 0. But also we say that when determining whether it is maximum or minimum, it depends on the value of a which is here, which is this one, that one. So you determine it from there. So for this case, since a is greater than 0, which is equal to 2, it is greater than 0. Here we are saying that is a 2. So that means this one represents what? It represents a, we said when it is greater, that is a minimum value of that equation. So for this case, that means here we shall say therefore the minimum value, which we can call now, since we said let it be y, which will be y minimum, which will be y minimum, is equal to, again, a number which is here with its sign, which is negative 65 out of 16. So it becomes negative 65 out of 16. We say now occurs when x minus 3 out of 4 equals 0. So it says x becomes 3 out of 4. So it occurs when x equals 3 out of 4. So that's how we can conclude about that equation, getting the minimum value for that equation. So now let us continue with the second one without wasting time. To see how can we make it so now on the second one, we have that b equals negative 4 plus 6x minus x squared. So that's what we have. We said when we have a question like this, what we do, we let, then again we rearrange in this form, ax squared plus bx plus a c, so that we can continue with our completing squares. So let here I can say let m be equal to negative 4 plus 6x minus x squared. So that's what we are dealing with. So we rearrange starting with the x squared. So we consider even the sign which is in front, which is m equals negative. There comes negative x squared, then here it is plus 6x, then here minus 4. So we have rearranged. Now we are saying that here the x squared is negative, and we said also to get the maximum, this value must be less than a 0. So for that case, by looking just at this equation, that one calls for only us getting the maximum value. So for this case, we are continuing. We said when here it is a degree of 1, what we do, we first make it to become a degree of 1 by factorizing out that value. So for this case here is not also 1, because we have a negative. Negative value is not the same as 1. So for this case, it becomes, this one becomes, we are factorizing out the negative 1. So here it becomes negative 1 and 2 now will remain with x squared. So here, when you factorize out a negative, it remains minus 6x. So here it becomes a plus 4. So when you multiply this one inside, you find that you get exactly what we have there. So we said you get that, after doing this, you get that value of b. So b, according to here, is negative 6. So on b is negative 6, we said we divide it by 2. So when you divide b by 2, you have a negative 3. So after dividing it by 2, so the value which you have divided by 2, I have to square it. So it becomes a negative 3, the whole thing squared, which will give us a 9. So now we are going to add this side a 9, subtract a 9 from the other side. So that's where we are. So that's where we are. So we have that our m now will be equal to, this one is negative 1 and 2, this one becomes x squared Now, after getting the x squared, we said we work on b, which is negative 6x. So we said at b, we have to add what we have got after squaring, which is a 9. So also deal with the other one, which is a plus 4. Then here we said we subtract what we have squared. So now this is the thing which we are considering. So it is like that. So now what we do, we said when we come on this one, we see which number can use square to come out with this. So for that case, so we have to get that number which can square in order for us to get this. So for this case to be, now m minus negative 1 into, so which number we said we pick the number which is here, which is x. So we check the side which is in the middle, which is a minus. So now we come on this one. We get that number which is not squared. Now according to this one, here let me put a 3, then I square it. So we get a number which is squared here. So which is a 3. So now this one, now it becomes, here put a big bracket, then square it. So when I square this one, I will definitely get this value here. So here it becomes, so this one minus this, it becomes minus a 5. So that's what I have out of that.